My name is Gregory Griffin, and I'd like to thank all of you who are Chartwell members, as well as anyone who is joining us for the first time. Our mission at Chartwell is to drive excellence in the utility industry by connecting the industry to solutions, and today's webinar is one of the many ways that we strive to achieve this goal. Without further ado, I would like to welcome up our partner for this webinar, Smart Measures, who's going to be talking to us about how to recognize early stage financial stress in utility customers and what to do about it. The prep for this webinar has been really exciting. They've got a lot of really great practical ways to really increase the way that you're identifying customers and can really help you in that arrears management and collections realm.
As I've been listening and taking notes, I've kind of tried to, understand the key messages that are here. There's lots and lots of information. As Mike just pointed out, thinking about the concept of 3,000 to 4,000 data signal points per customer in an environment, in a world that utilities live in with hundreds of thousands and millions of customers, creates an almost unfathomable amount of data that we have to draw from. Thankfully, advancements in technology and the advent of AI is designed to do exactly that: crunch massive amounts of data and produce usable information as an output. So I think part of the message here is consistent with Pat's original point that utilities are interested in figuring out how to use and leverage technology and analytics to better serve vulnerable customers and to better attack the growing bad debt and collections problem. It's the advances in technology that are making this possible. Libby pointed out the existing systems aren't broken. We're not suggesting that people need to embark on major system integration projects or whole new IT directions, but rather being able to leverage the data that you have in a new way, utilizing an outsourced service through AI to be able to predict and define different customer types that then feed into behavioral analysis as covered by Becca. That, I think one of the compelling statements made earlier was that, we're hitting customers with the same message at the exact time when they're most different in the early stage of their pathway along the collections process. I think that's a very powerful thing to consider. If we can identify them effectively, if we can categorize them effectively, if we can send the right message at the right time, we're going to have a much better opportunity of disrupting that destructive behavior cycle that Becca covered. So, understanding the fingerprints, that behavioral fingerprints that customers who are facing early stage financial stress is critical to the process. Utilizing the right tools to be able to message them, to get the most effective messaging to them at the most critical times, and doing all of that without major disruptions or changes in your existing processes, in your existing systems, sounds like something that's worth considering further. This does not change your governance framework. It does not replace the collections process. This is merely thinking of ways to apply new tools in a manner that extends and augments what you're already doing. So, if you think about leveraging data with advanced technology, financial stress customers are not going to self-identify. We need to do something proactive based on what we know about them in order to be able to understand where they're coming from, where they live, and where they are in the process. And this is the new idea that's being introduced here. The Con Ed webinar was fascinating. Huge problems coming out of COVID. Tremendous success in being able to reduce their bad debt, their bad debt obligations. But their focus was 120 days out and beyond, with the desire to move it up to 90 days, maybe at some point 60 days. This is an approach that's saying, let's jump in a lot earlier in the process. Let's identify people Uh, let's identify people before it becomes a problem. And I guess we can close and move into Q&A with this quote that came from the Australian government regulatory executive, specific to what the progress that Smart Measures has been making in Australia, in talking about catching people at the top of the cliff while the rest of us are trying to put them together when they hit bottom. I think this is a pretty powerful image to define what we're trying to convey here today, that utilities can take a little different approach to how to address this growing problem that we're all experiencing. Let's find and identify the customers early. Let's engage with them in a way that makes sense to them and creates the right behavior. Let's continue to do all the things that we need to do triage when people fall off the cliff. But the best way to address growing bad debt is to reduce the number of customers that are vulnerable to it.